Welcome to PeopleSoft Now. I'm Rebekah Jackson. In this episode, we're going to talk about Policy Manager and Cloud Manager, how it works in the real world, how it saves money, and what we're working on next. I'm thrilled to talk today with two of the smartest technologists I know, Dan Iverson, PeopleSoft and Oracle Cloud Architect at psadmin.io, and Dave Bain, who runs PeopleTools and Technology Strategy here at Oracle. Dan, Dave, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Rebekah.
So we're going to dig into Policy Manager and Cloud Manager today. But before we do that, Dan, from my perspective, you're a little bit of a celebrity in the PeopleSoft community. Can you talk a little bit about psadmin.io and your PeopleSoft Administrator podcast?
Yeah, absolutely. So psadmin.io started out as just kind of a way for Kyle Benson and I to just kind of share some of the things we've been learning and talking about. We used to work across the street from each other. So we'd get together, have lunch, talk about work, and it was great. And so we just decided, well, we should record this and see if anyone's interested in what we talk about. And it turns out a lot of people are. So we kind of took that idea. We have a podcast that we release every week. We talk about PeopleSoft administration, PeopleSoft in general. And we built a kind of a whole site and organization around sharing knowledge of PeopleSoft administration, and have built a community that really kind of complements what you already have with Oracle support and everything else that Oracle provides.
Well, it's about time that we had you on the show. So we're thrilled you're here. And I think we've got a great topic to get your thoughts on. We want to talk about Cloud Manager, of course, and specifically Policy Manager, which we announced earlier this year, the new capability that lets customers set automated policies to control what happens with their PeopleSoft environments in Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. So Dan, now that you've had a chance to get your hands on Policy Manager, play around with it a little bit, what are your reactions to it?
I like it. I mean, I like it a lot. I think Policy Manager is one of the features in Cloud Manager that's really going to just allow so many more things to happen in an automated fashion with running PeopleSoft in the Oracle Cloud. I found it really simple to use. There's some kind of delivered policies that are shipped with Cloud Manager. It's easy to set those up, and it's easy to attach those to your environments and start doing things like starting up and shutting down your environments automatically, things that you don't have to worry about on your own. I think the main advantage that we've really looked at using it is just it's a tangible way to start saving money by running PeopleSoft in the cloud.
Can you talk a little bit more, like how do you anticipate customers are going to save money because of Policy Manager?
Sure. One of the core reasons is when you run an instance in the cloud, you're charged for that. But the great thing about the cloud is when you're not running an instance, you're not being charged. And that's what Policy Manager can let you take advantage of, right? There's a lot of times that you have environments that have no need to be used, right? You don't have people generally working overnight. You have kind of core business hours that you're operating. So you don't need environments running when people aren't using them. So Policy Manager will let you set a policy and to say, hey, at 6 a.m., let's boot up these environments that we need. At 6 p.m., when everyone's logged off for the day, we can shut them all down. And right there, you've saved a decent amount of money because those environments aren't running when no one's in there.
That makes sense. And I think, have you started to look at some real world use cases like that? Are you anticipating either yourselves as consumers in the cloud or customers you work with seeing opportunities for that?
Yeah, we are. We kind of have, we've kind of right now using kind of three standard policies with this. One is what I just described, where you have environments that just need to be accessed during the day. Our PeopleSoft images that we run and we try things with. Those we have start up in the morning at about 8, and then we shut them off at about 5 p.m. because that's really the only time during the day that we need those environments. One of the other things we use Cloud Manager for is spinning up extra developer machines. So we might need, some extra machines while we're going through an upgrade project. And so we'll use Cloud Manager to spin up those developer instances. Now, as a developer myself, I don't like my machine rebooting every night because I might have stuff I've been working on. So what we instead have is a policy that shuts things down Friday evening. and then brings things up Monday morning. And that's something that we can easily work with. And right there, we've saved 2 days of compute time that we're not paying for. The other policy that we've started playing with is we have a number of times we'll spin up an environment because we want to test something. Maybe there's a new patch we want to try. There's a new feature we want to play with. And so we'll spin up an environment. But it's easy to forget that you've started those environments. And then a couple of weeks later, you go in and you realize, oh, shoot, this environment that we haven't used for a couple of weeks is running. So what we set up as a policy to just shut down environments Friday night, but it doesn't start them up. And the reason for that is it prevents us from having like runaway costs from our Cloud Manager environments. Because if we realize Monday morning, oh, I need to get back into this environment, Cloud Manager makes it so easy to just go in and start that environment, and then away we go for the rest of the week.
So Dave, listening to Dan speak about kind of what he's seeing in terms of the opportunity and some of the practical use cases that you're using, what's your sense about the kind of customer that's best positioned to take advantage of Policy Manager?
Yeah, listening to Dan, those are excellent thoughts and excellent ideas. First of all, let's just remind everybody that the Policy Manager is part of Cloud Manager. And Cloud Manager is an administration tool that runs on OCI, the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. So the first step in getting to the Policy Managers is running your PeopleSoft or deploying your PeopleSoft applications out on OCI. And then the second thing is kind of just carrying along with Dan's theme, and that is a customer that first of all, they want to optimize the expenses that they're paying for the PeopleSoft environment, right, and reduce the costs where they can. Number one, and number two, are in a position where they can do that. So a lot of our customers are kind of the old traditional. Let's set up the dev, the test, and the production environments, and the demo environment, and the PUM environments. But if you're willing to start thinking about operating PeopleSoft applications differently, right, and managing your development environments a little bit differently, managing your testing environments, or bringing your testing environments up when you're using them and shutting them down, and taking advantage of things like Dan said. We start an environment, and we know that we're not going to use it more than a day, but we forget about it. If you want to take care of things like that, I think that's a perfect use case for this.
And I think from the way that both of you are talking, it's also clear that it's not an all or nothing proposition. You don't have to choose to use the cloud for all of your environments. You could keep your production instance where it is, but if you need to expand with some test capacity, or you need some PUM environments for patching, it's really infinitely flexible. And it sounds like in some ways, Policy Manager makes it even easier than to tap into some of that.
And keep in mind that starting and stopping environments is not all that Policy Manager does, right? It can back up your environment. So if you want to take backups at certain times, it can do that. If you do refreshes from production environments on a regular basis, you can do that as well. And then there's also the ability to take a running environment, a production environment, and scale it up and scale it down based upon use. So those are also great examples of things that you can do.
So let's say there's a customer out there that hasn't tried it yet, and this video does the trick. This conversation, they're like, I'm in. I want to give it a try. Dan, from your experience now, kind of going in, not a part of our team that developed it, but as a user, are there any steps that you feel like a customer should take to sort of be ready to adopt Policy Manager and start to play around with it? How do they start?
Yeah, so the first thing would be is you'll want to use Cloud Manager to deploy your environments. So I think a great use case is one that we're going through. We're doing an upgrade project. We're trying to get caught up to the latest images and do a tools version. And so we have some demo environments that we've spun up. So we deploy those through Cloud Manager, and then right from there, you can try some of the different policies. I would say start with the simple one, but I think it's also the most appealing one, which is find what times during the day you can and shut down your environments. Those policies are delivered. You just have to pick the times that you want them to execute and then see how that works. You might have some early birds, you might have some night owls, so you might have to play with that schedule a little bit. But I think that's like the first place to try Policy Manager, but I also think it's the one that gets you the biggest bang for the buck because you'll see cost savings from it.
That makes sense. I'll be surprised, given everything that the last year to 18 months has also taught us about expecting the unexpected, that backup capability might be a pretty handy one as well. So now let's talk a little bit beyond Policy Manager. Let's talk about Cloud Manager in general. And so I'm curious, Dan, let's maybe start with you. What have you sort of seen and experienced with Cloud Manager as the business value for customers? Why should they use it?
For me, on the business side, it just takes a lot of the hands-on work that you would normally have to do, and it just puts it in a nice front-end tool. It's a great way where if you have people that need to have temporary environments, say you're rolling out some new interfaces and you need an environment to test in for a week or two, there's no reason why a business user can't go in there, go through their little checklist of here's the things I need to click to deploy an environment, and now they have a place where they can go do their testing. Cloud Manager really makes that much simpler. They don't have to get other people involved in that process, and so I think it makes, from the technical side, supporting PeopleSoft easier in some ways, because you're not trying to say, all right, well, we've got a certain number of environments. We're trying to figure out who's doing what, where. It's more like, no, if you have a business need to go do some testing, here's your environment. You go do your testing there. When you're done, we can use Cloud Manager to clean it up afterwards.
And as a technical guy, as a PeopleSoft administrator, that doesn't make you nervous, right? There's still good quality, high value work for you to do.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, clicking next on an install wizard is not really high value activity, so I'd rather spend my time actually doing fun things, maybe rolling out new features, playing with some of the great new visualization tools and things like that. Deploying environments is just a checklist in the job of things that I do. So I'm happy handing that off.
Dave, how about you? What have you seen from customers that are adopting Cloud Manager? What are there benefits or experiences that are starting to get talked about with it?
Well, first I'll start with the OCI side of things, right? We're running on the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, which is turning out to be just a tremendous platform for our customers. Virtually every customer that I hear that is running and deploying on OCI is getting cost benefits and getting performance benefits. So right off the top, before you apply the Cloud Manager to it, there's those benefits. And then on the Cloud Manager side, as Dan says, what we've done is we've taken a lot of the mundane processes and we've automated them, right? So you don't have to sit there and go through these mundane steps, number one. And number two, all of us, even Dan, makes errors every now and then, right? And by automating these things, it takes the manual error out of the picture. And one thing that we haven't talked about is the lifecycle side of things. And we really have been working hard. Our lifecycle team and our Cloud Manager team have been working hard on automating the ability to do things like apply a PRP patch to the PUM environment, to be able to automate the CPU patching on the tool side, also to automate the PeopleTools upgrades and updates and patches.
You mentioned Oracle Cloud Infrastructure in general. And one of the conversations that we have a lot with respect to PeopleSoft is, well, we think we want to run in infrastructure as a service, but why is Oracle Cloud Infrastructure better than AWS? As a PeopleSoft customer, how do I make that decision? And Dan, I know we chatted and, about 18 months ago, you were running your PeopleSoft environments in AWS, and you've since moved and are using Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. Why did you make that change? Because a lot of our customers grapple with that decision.
Sure, yeah. So there were kind of three big draws for us to make the switch to OCI. The first was Cloud Manager. Like Dave said, I mean, I can spin up environments pretty quickly, but I also can make mistakes, and that is just time it takes. And so for a lot of the things that we do, we need a quick demo environment, and my go-to is Cloud Manager for that. That is just the simplest way to do it. And so that is something that you get on OCI. The second was cost. We definitely evaluated that between AWS and OCI. OCI is extremely competitive in costs. We were able to save money. One of the things we do is we run a conference every year, and we spin up a tremendous amount of infrastructure for that conference to do hands-on labs. And so that had a direct impact in our ability to, provide more for people by being able to save cost on that. And the last one was a little more technical, but it definitely was something that is important to us, and that's Terraform support. So Terraform is an infrastructure as code tool set that we use quite a bit. And what's great about OCI is Terraform is a first-class customer. It is, and sometimes even features come out in Terraform support before they come in the console. And so that tool set that we were really comfortable with is just extremely easy to use with OCI.
That's great. So we've obviously covered a lot of ground. We've been delivering a lot in this area. Dave touched on even some of the lifecycle features that we're not focusing on as much here. I guess, Dan, maybe last question to you. What would you love to see our team do next in this area?
Well, I think it kind of goes what Dave was talking about is kind of the lifecycle management side of things. Because as he mentioned, you can use Cloud Manager to keep your PeopleSoft images up to date. I think what I would like to see is let's take that the next step and let's keep our infrastructure up to date. Cloud Manager knows when a new image has been released. So what I would like to see is rather than keep my image up to date and then have to deploy the next image, let's have Cloud Manager do that for me. Let's have Cloud Manager take the PUM data that we have from our old instance, let's move it to our new one. That way my customization repositories move for me, my packages I've created. Because I think that's where Cloud Manager would really excel is I don't have to worry about, the new HR image is out, I have to go take care of it. It's like, no, I run Cloud Manager. I just know that within a day or so, I will have that latest HR image running with all of my data, and I can just go on doing, the support things that I need to do.
That plays well with what we've been talking about recently, just in general, trying to drive more and more autonomous processing, leveraging Cloud Manager. Dave, last item for you. Do you want to touch briefly on autonomous PeopleSoft with Cloud Manager? I hear that's still in the works and maybe some announcements soon.
We have, yes, and in fact, it's pretty exciting. We have a new release of Cloud Manager that's just, when we're talking about this right now, it's coming out very, very soon. I'm sure some of the folks will be watching this and it'll already have been released. But one of the big features that we're adding in Cloud Manager is the ability to manage the production environments, right? First of all, it's managing the ability to take your environments, deploy your environments, and they don't have to be on a maximum load deployment, because they will take information, they'll take usage information. Grab that usage information, send it over to our data science engine that runs on the Oracle Cloud infrastructure. And it'll use that information. It'll take the models that we've built behind the scenes, and it'll determine when it needs to scale, when your systems need to scale up, and when they need to scale down. So it's really tapping into the AI ML engine and then the capabilities that are delivered in OCI. And it's done at, all you have to do is pay for the resources. So you're not paying for an additional license for that. So it's taking all of those capabilities and it's managing your production environments, the ability to scale up and scale back down your production environment. So that's a great thing.
Well, with everything you both have covered today, all the value that customers can get from Cloud Manager, which doesn't require a subscription or a license fee. It's part of PeopleTools when you run PeopleSoft, and all the things that we're doing to continue to drive the autonomous automation kind of hands off. So like you said, Dan, we can do the fun stuff. I think it's a great area. I'm excited for our customers to get more experience with it. Thank you both for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Now, stay tuned for your In the Know update.
It's time to keep you in the know with PeopleSoft, starting with our recent product deliverables. In September, Oracle released FSCM Image 41. In October, we released HCM Image 40 and Campus Solutions Image 23. And Cloud Manager Image 13 shipped in November. The PeopleSoft team also delivered the following new educational assets. We released highlights videos for all of the new update images. September saw our first Focus on Innovation video, where we talk about how customers are innovating with PeopleSoft. And we delivered video feature overviews for the Kibana Travel and Expense Dashboard, Oracle Guided Learning, Picasso, and the new Expenses skill. If you visited the blog platform recently, you've seen that there are some big changes. First, Oracle has moved all blogs to a new platform, making it even easier to find the content you care about. Use the trays to zero in on the topics you want to see. We've also merged the PeopleSoft App Strategy blog channel and the Legislative blog channel, which now has its own tray. We continue to post blogs on the hottest new topics and features, from health and safety to Kibana dashboards to the latest UX technologies and enhancements to managing PeopleSoft. And finally, the PeopleSoft team always has a lot going on that you need to know about. Blueprint 4D is the conference coming up in June. For the first time in, well, a long time, you can talk to PeopleSoft team members live in person at Blueprint 4D at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, Nevada. If you can't attend in person, we've got you covered. Quest has set up this conference as a hybrid event, designed for customer participation and engagement both in person and digitally, for a truly global event. Go to questoraclecommunity.org, then click on Events and Blueprint 4D to find out more. Robin Validum has a new episode of the PeopleSoft Chat podcast that discusses what's on the mind of PeopleSoft HCM customers. You can find PeopleSoft Chat on your favorite podcast directories or stream it from our YouTube channel. And finally, you can find all PeopleSoft information, videos, and more on the PeopleSoft information portal at peoplesoftinfo.com. Now you're in the know. Stay safe, and we'll see you in 2022.
Good, Sparky.